Let's do it. Okay, so I already talked a little bit about Drive Whip, and here is okay. But say your name, please, because I don't want to butcher it.
Hi, my name is Henok Menase, and I'm Chief Marketing Officer at Drive Whip.
Okay, welcome to the show, Henok.
Thank you for having me,
Um,
Sergio.
how are you, sir?
Living the dream.
The dream is not being able to connect it to StreamYard. Uh,
Yeah.
but we have. That's why we ask folks to show up early. But to be honest with you, I don't think it was on our end. I think it was on your end. But long story short, Hanak, as he said, he's the chief marketing officer, as it says right down there. So, Hanak, tell us a little bit about DriveWhip. How long have you been there, and what does DriveWhip do?
Sure. Whip started in 2015. We started with one simple mission, which was really to give rideshare drivers a better experience from the car experience, from you having the right car at the right time for you to make the most amount of money that you can. Right. When we started in 2015. So back then, the idea was that you were supposed to own a vehicle, right, to drive for rideshare. And so we really had a challenge, and we had to try to change kind of the way that people used vehicles, right? People thought that you needed to own a vehicle and that made the most sense for you. But then we started showing people that when you put 50,000 miles on a car within a year, that makes no sense for you, right? Because now you're actually working against yourself. I think you have a finance show, right, Sergio?
Yeah, I have a finance show, and in fact, you mentioned 50,000 miles, right?
Right.
We just released an article on one of my articles on our newsletter, and he exactly talked about the business aspect of doing
Mhm.
rideshare, because a lot of drivers do not understand business. They just put the gas in the car and go, and they think that's the only expense.
Yeah, one of the
So yeah.
most important things that people have to understand when you become or come into the rideshare game is the true cost of ownership of a vehicle, right?
Yep.
And it's not just your car payment, right? It's like, okay, your car payment allows you to use the vehicle for X amount of miles within a period of time, right? The minute you go over that, now you're depreciating the car faster, right? So a lot of people don't understand that piece of it. And so they say, okay, well, my car payment is 500, but if I rent a car, it's going to cost me over 1,000. But in essence, you're paying that just, not today, right?
Well,
So
the other thing a lot of drivers do but we tried to change that in the last 3.5 years we've been doing this, is a lot of drivers say, I made $100 today,
mhm,
right? I tell them, you didn't make anything. You grossed $100. Your revenue was $100. Now
right,
figure out your costs, right?
right.
Your fixed costs, your variable costs, and then once you figure that out, then you figure out what you actually made, which was
Right.
your net. Your net versus gross is something that drivers, I don't think, understand. But I know a lot of drivers. I mean, a lot of drivers have become my eyes and ears all over the nation. Okay. And I know actually a couple of drivers, and I have spoken to those drivers about Drive Whip or Whip in the past. And one of our mutual friends is probably Vinny from Florida. I don't know
Many
if you know him
does.
or not, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so actually, I've been wanting to talk to you guys for a while, because there is shortcomings with the rental programs that Uber and Lyft offer, meaning they make you not be able to drive for anyone else. Because if you rent through Hertz for Uber, you can only drive for Uber. If you rent through Avis for Lyft, you can only drive for Lyft. So how did you guys figure that part out? So you explain to our audience, how is it possible to drive for multi-platforms with a rental from Whip?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a common question that we've gotten. One of the challenges is that, their programs are specifically, or the restrictions apply only to their vehicles, not ours. So our vehicles are independently owned. They're not owned by them. We don't operate through their platform. So you don't have to have a one-to-one relationship. As a matter of fact, I think it's a quiet secret. And I think all rideshare drivers do this, is that you have to multi-app. That's the
Yeah.
only way that you're going to be successful, right? So if you're driving Uber and you're renting, let's say, from one of their rental platforms, you're losing a lot of money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. And if you're doing it from the other platform, it's the same problem, right? So what we try to do is to provide a solution for people to be able to make the most amount of money. Because, for example, you might not want to drive rideshare. You might be more inclined to do delivery, right? Because you might be a student, or, you might take care of family. You might have, whatever your life scenario is, you need that flexibility. So that's kind of where we came in and said, okay, you might not want to drive this, but you might want to drive that. So let's give you an opportunity to, be able to make as much as you can whenever you can. So that's why our selection of vehicles is kind of robust. And it's always been ever since we've kind of been in operation, because, a lot of companies or rental car companies, what they do is they buy cars that make sense for them, not make sense for you as a renter, right? So Uber Comfort, for example, we've always been a big proponent of making sure that we have Uber Comfort eligible vehicles from the sedan side and also to the XL side, because our drivers, especially like the ones that we have in the DC and Baltimore area, these are hardcore drivers. Like the ones that have an XL, like let's say a Toyota Highlander or Sienna, they never give those cars back, because they know that that is going to be a big engine for them to make money. So again, our goal is always just try to make, provide the best car for the person at the right time. So if you're starting out, maybe we start you out, with a Corolla while you try to figure out the ins and outs of navigating, keeping your car clean, communicating with a passenger, trying to keep them happy, etc. Right. And then you figure that piece out. Then you move, let's say, okay, I want to go into a bigger vehicle because now I'm kind of a pro at this, right? I've figured out the sauce. So, what we try to do is to create an opportunity for everyone at every kind of stage of their rideshare journey.
Yeah,
And
no,
have a car available for them.
I agree. And I was actually, now my next question was going to be, do you only rent EVs, obviously, or it's ICE vehicles and combine and different size cars for different platforms, like you said, all the way up to XL,
Right.
SUV. And so you do run the gamut, basically. You said Toyota Corolla all the way up to a Sienna, right?
Yeah.
And so what is the breakdown of your fleet at the moment? Is it mostly EVs, or is it mostly ICE, or the other way?
So I'll say we're about 50-50, right?
Okay.
And we're moving more towards an EV inventory. And it makes a lot more sense for rideshare drivers. I know one of the big things is that people, they're comfortable in gas, right? They're comfortable in starting the car up, going to a gas station and, just continuing, their rideshare journey with something that they're used to. But let me tell you, the real money is an EV. Right. And I'm not saying that because we provide EV vehicles, we provide them all. Right. So it's not like we have a preference of one over the other. However, we do realize that, looking and talking to a lot of drivers, just like the one you named, Vinny, because, they make way more money in a Tesla Model Y than you would in a, let's say, in a Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Right. Just because of all the benefits that you get from Uber, as well as, the savings that you will make on fuel and the tips that you get. It's kind of, when you get into a Tesla, it's a different experience. It's a way nicer experience. And typically the people that are driving those cars are generally more experienced drivers. So, the experience is going to be kind of elevated. So again, we try to give a opportunity for people that have, okay, you want to start out with something smaller. We have a gas Corolla. But if you want to try something a little bit bigger and a little bit more elevated of experience, then you have the Tesla. But just a little caveat, we do not have gas cars in every single market. So markets like Miami, Richmond, Philly, Orlando, those are primarily Tesla-only markets.
Okay. Well, next question that I'm thinking of, I know the company reasonably well. Actually, I called Andrew one day a couple of months ago, and I said, there's this company called DriveWhip, and I learned it from Vinny, actually. I didn't even know you guys existed. And then I thought, wait a minute, hold on a second. A light bulb goes off. I go, well, why should I be just on Uber, right? I mean, look, we tell people you must multi-app. And not only multi-app, you must do, let's say, morning time, you do rideshare, and then lunchtime, you do deliveries. And, I mean, if you're a full-time driver, you're a full-time driver.
Yep.
But the other thing is, my belief is, I've done the numbers and I've written articles and done videos about this, is that, look, if you're going to rent, you're basically automatically are going to be a full-time driver. You can't just go on the weekends, drive 8 hours, and then, try to make the money up and whatever. But then again, look, rentals have their space, and some of them, especially if you're on a single platform, like Uber forces you or Lyft forces you to do
Right.
it. To me, it doesn't make sense. $500 a week, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But if you do if you can multi-app, and then the car is a little bit nicer than what you're going to get from Hertz, I definitely think there is a space for it. So, I'm highlighting some questions, if you don't mind, at the end. We'll go through those.
Sure.
So, how many markets is Whip in?
So Whip is currently in 9 markets. We are in DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Richmond, Boston, Chicago, Miami, Orlando, and Chicago. And yeah, Chicago.
Okay.
So we're in 9
So
markets.
basically, a lot of the major cities.
Yeah, we're in all the major markets, and with plans on expanding into other markets in 2026.
Okay. Is California one of those expansion plans?
God willing. California is a very tricky state, so as I'm sure you guys are very well aware, it's a very
I
tricky
live
state,
here.
but it's a great state. It's the state that basically makes all the rules for rideshare, right? So it could be a good or bad. No, but I think it'll be a
No,
great.
it's a bad. Look, I'm an East Coaster trapped in the West Coast. That's what I told
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
I was
Where are you
like,
from, Sergio?
originally from New York, actually. So I was like,
Okay.
but
You already know
no,
New
actually,
York.
I was born in Istanbul, Turkey, actually, and
Okay.
then ended up in the U.S. to go to college.
Yeah, I figured
So
the name wasn't from New York, so.
no, well, my Armenian name. I'm Armenian, so my Armenian name is worse than your first name. So
Oh yeah, mine's
people
easy.
people butchered it all through college, and then when I became a citizen, they go like, "Well, you have one shot to change your name." I go, "Okay, Sergio sounds good."
Yeah, I like that.
So long story short, so obviously, there's a need for this, and you guys are expanding, and I've heard nothing but good things actually from Vinny about you guys. So,
Awesome.
and when Andrew said, you're gonna have Enoch on, and I'm going like, "Oh, sure, yeah, I want to know because I think our audience will benefit from it."
Thank you so much.
Because
I
look, there are a
appreciate
lot of renters out there, but they want to know more details. So the chat's flying. So I'm trying to get my head together and then also try to make sure that we answer all the pertinent questions.
I love it.
So I'm sure you looked into the cost of this, right? You priced your cars according to competition. I mean, you can't price it too high, you can't price it too low, but the advantage of being able to drive on multiple platforms, including delivery, is a huge, huge bonus. I mean, huge. I'd be attracted to renting a car instead of putting miles on my own car, right? So
Yeah,
let's go through that. I mean, you don't have to give us exact pricing, but how competitive is your pricing? Does it include insurance, obviously?
sure.
And let's
Yeah,
go through
so
some of the nitty-gritty stuff.
we'll start. If let's focus on the EV side, right? Because we'll start there. So we have 2 models that we provide. We provide the Model 3 and we provide the Model Y.
Okay.
And then in the DC area, we now started offering the 2026 Model Y Juniper. We're the only ones who
Oh, I
provide
love
that.
that car. That's my next car.
So that car is really nice. Have you been
Yeah.
in one? Yeah, it's super,
Yeah,
super
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So our Model 3 is $399 a week. Our
Okay.
Model Y is $449 a week. And then our Model Y Juniper is $550 a week. Right now, we're doing and we've been doing this for a while, is the Switch and Save program, where if you're renting from one of our competitors in the rideshare rental space and you come over to Whip, we'll give you $200 off your first month. So that's $50 off per week. And then that for a lot of people, because a lot of times, the most difficult part is just trying to get comfortable with trying something new. And if you say, okay, well, I'm going to save some money and try something new and get a benefit of being able to drive, for multiple platforms, I think it takes away a little bit of that fear of just trying something new. So that's something we're offering. So if anyone in the chat here is interested in joining us, we will offer that discount to you as well. All we need is just a proof of that receipt. We also offer, like I said, we also offer gas vehicles. So the Corollas are $350. We have Camrys, which are standard gas. And we also have the hybrids. So $375, $399 for the hybrid. And then the RAV4, which is $425, seats 5. Does qualify for Uber Comfort, so that's really good. You get that benefit, and it's really good for airport trips and good on gas. It's a 4-cylinder, so you can do really well with that. Then you have the Highlander, which is a 7-seater XL, qualifies for Uber Comfort. That's $450, and then our biggest one would be the Sienna. at 500, and that one's they're all hybrid. So,
Okay.
when you're looking at price, you have to think of two things: price and value, right? The price is what you're paying, and the value is what you're receiving, right? So, I never look at price, I always look at value. You might be paying a little bit less elsewhere, right? But the value that you receive is significantly less. And so I look at that and I say, okay, can I make more money with Whip, or can I make more money with Avis, Hertz, or, one of the other guys? And if the answer isn't yes, then I just look at the numbers and make my decision based off that.
No, I think, look, I mean, I appreciate you going through all the pricing. Obviously, there's going to be a question from the audience, but I thought about it. Like, how about insurance? Does that include
Yeah, I'm
insurance?
sorry. Yeah. So everything is included. It's a one-stop shop. You get free maintenance. So we take care of everything with the vehicle. We don't outsource it to anywhere else. That's one of the biggest differences between us and like our competitors, right? The other guys, a lot of times they will let you drive that car till the wheels fall off. Like literally, we've seen it, right? And then, so with us, we don't do that. That car has an issue, you let us know, you bring it in, as well as we have a maintenance program that the car comes in every 60 days or 10,000 miles just to make sure the car is good. If you need an oil change, brakes, lights, tire, anything like that, right? And then, so everything's included: free maintenance, unlimited miles, your insurance, and your rental. It's all one package.
One thing I always say is work smarter, not harder. If you aren't using the Solo app, then you may be working harder. So let's change that. Download the app, link your accounts where you can manage your income, track your expenses, and project your taxes. Not only that, but you can plan by optimizing your time, make more, and even guarantee your daily pay with guaranteed earnings. Download Solo and begin to work smarter, not harder today. Link is in the description. All right, let's get back to it.
Okay, so with the other companies, right? So like, I mean, look, I'm in the space. I understand. I know how the gimmick works. Is that so? You go to Hertz, you're gonna rent a car, and then they say it includes insurance, but then at the last minute, do you want to buy this extra insurance, which is another $70-$80 a week, right?
Right.
So is that the same with you? I mean, there is no what you see is what you get, basically, right?
No, I think, with us, that's another thing. Rideshare drivers need transparency, right? So it's a couple things that, separates us from them. One is transparency. Your price doesn't change at the end. It's not like, oh, here's I gotcha. This is one thing that a lot of the other guys do, especially on the EV side. You don't know what your charging rate is or what your charging bill is going to be at the end of the month, right? With us, you're paying for your charging every time, like you're paying for fuel, right? You're not getting this random $1,200-$1,300 bill at the end of the month. You can't verify, you can't validate. And so, for us, it's all about transparency. You get access through the Tesla app. You could see, okay, well, I just spent $15 or $12 at this last charge. Boom, comes right off your card. So again, everything is very transparent. There's no, surprise fees at the end.
Okay, the other thing that Hertz and Avis do, if you do rent through them, is that if it's a Tesla specifically, they block certain parts of the Tesla app that you can't do everything. It's not. I'm sure it's for safety or security reasons or whatever not. But the other thing that comes to mind is if it includes all the insurance, we don't. There's what you see is what you get. One stop shop, right? The thing that is to me really interesting in all this is that I get like literally 1,500 emails a week, and a lot of them are about rentals. That how at the end when they return the car, they got absolutely screwed, right? And they come up with a bill that they cannot afford to pay. The other thing is with Lyft specifically, if you rent through their Flex Drive, you start with a negative at the start of the week. You have to work your way through basically to get to positive. So with you, it's like this is how much the car is going to cost. This is your cost. You're in business. Do whatever you're going to do. Make your money and then enjoy yourself. And then, is there you said unlimited miles, but is there any restrictions that you should talk about?
No, I mean, the only restriction that we keep is that you just can't drive the car more than 150 miles from the place where you picked it up, right? And again, vehicle is intended for rideshare rental purposes. And so I think some of the other guys, they allow drivers to drive, like wherever they want, but for us, that's not really the intended purpose of that car, Now, let's say you have a ride that takes you, 100 miles away. We've seen that's becoming more of a thing now. Like
Yeah.
you never really saw that. Like no one took an Uber 90 miles away. But as we're seeing that more and more, our drivers are allowed to drive as far as they need to make that ride. And then try to get a ride back. But we really don't restrict you. Rideshare drivers, you to be a really good, successful rideshare driver, you have to be disciplined, right? So the discipline will show itself, in your results and your earnings. And so our goal is just to try to help you and be your partner in that journey. And so ultimately, we can just give you the car, but what you do with it is really up to you.
Okay. Couple of other questions, and I'm going to post. I think I saved 11 questions. I don't think with any guest I've saved 11 questions before, but then I'm a happy clicker, so we'll see. Maybe they're repeat questions.
Sure.
So let's say I'm in Philly, okay, or Chicago, or Boston, and I want to rent a car from Driveway, right? What's the process? How difficult is it? How easy is it? Because I know, again, hearing ridiculous disaster stories from Hertz and Avis renters, what they go through, like they say the car is available, and you go there, the car is not available, and all that stuff. So
that's so weird.
Is it an online process, or do you have brick and mortar style places where we have to go pick up the car, or how does the process work?
So in Atlanta, Chicago, Baltimore, and Rockville, our Washington, D.C. location, we all have physical brick and mortar stores. So there you will go and pick up your car from one of our locations. And,
Okay.
Our front desk team and our in-store team will help you with everything at that. When it comes to other markets, these are remote pickups, right? So we'll remotely unlock the vehicle for you. And again, those remote markets like Miami, Orlando, Philadelphia, Richmond, Orlando, those markets will remotely unlock the vehicle for you, give you access through the Tesla app, so that you can also have access to supercharging. So everything is done remotely in those places. But in the other 4 markets, you will come inside. We'll do everything for you. We'll schedule you to come back in 60 days, make sure that the car's in good shape, take a look at your car, etc. The process to fill out an application, really simple. You just go to drivewhip.com. You'll see a button that says join now. And then you'll fill out the application. Again, all we ask for is 3 things: picture of your license, proof of address, which can be a bank statement or utility bill in the last 30 days, and a proof of your rideshare, which is your Uber or Lyft driver dashboard or profile. And we review that and then give you an answer typically the same day, if not the next day.
Yeah,
And
is
you can
there
pay
any
with,
rating restrictions or things like that as far as the driver?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you want to keep somebody or put someone in a car that has the propensity to stay in the car, right? So if you have a 4.6 rating, unfortunately, that's not going to work because you're already on the way out. But again,
no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're already on the way out with Uber, that's indicative that that might not be the best thing for you, right? Maybe you're better as a delivery driver, maybe better for Amazon Flex. So, it's all about, it's just learning. We're not going to be good at everything that we try, but as long as we keep trying, I think that's the number one key to really making it in life. Just keep trying.
Okay. Well, folks, link is in the show notes. Show notes meaning it says more next to the description. You click more. Drivewhip's link is right there. You guys. So I'm going to put up the questions one by one. Let's go through them quickly because this will not end. Not that I wanted to end. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're fair questions. So first question: I have not been able to get an Excel from Drivewhip in 6 months. Okay, so Mr. Noise 7632, what you can do is you probably should send me an email and then I'll forward it to Henok because that's how we work. I've become Uber Lyft support, so I'll become Whip support.
You can be Whip support. Great, thank you. We always need more help, Sergio. Thank you.
Of course, I got pro bono work. So let me know what market you're in and I'll forward your email to him and then that will get resolved. Cool. A lot of questions going to be about location. I was just clicking and saving. Is Whip available in Savannah, Georgia?
We're not. We're available in Atlanta, Georgia, though. But if Savannah becomes a big enough market and, it's something that, makes sense, that's the beauty. We're not relegated to saying yes or no to any market. We're willing to go to any market if it makes sense.
So it seems like though, like all the cities you mentioned, Chicago, Boston, Atlanta, these are all major cities, right? I mean, obviously there's traffic, there's demand. You want your drivers to make money. I mean, look, it just makes sense. Or Miami or whatever.
Yeah, you want to be in a place where people can actually make money.
So do you have Suburbans, Escalades, Navigators?
No, because we like reliability, so we go with Toyota. And so we provide Highlanders and Siennas and RAV4s. So no.
I think if you have Siennas, Sienna is probably the favorite driver of any XL driver.
It's the best car I've ever, like one of the best cars I've ever driven, especially for rideshare. They've got, dual sliding button doors, so you don't even get up. You just press a button and then, doors open on both sides. Passengers love it, and they're great on fuel. So
yeah, for sure, especially the hybrids. Yeah. So how long is the commitment for the rental car? Weekly, monthly? I think there was a similar question later on.
It's a weekly rental, but you can keep it as long as you want. There's no maximum. It's just a minimum of 1 week.
So you just renew autumn. If you don't, okay, do you have like 24-hour grace period or something, or do you have the notification period that you have to tell drive with? Okay, I'm returning the car or something like that.
If you just tell us like, hey guys, I want to return the car tomorrow, there's no like, oh, you need to tell us a week in advance. I mean, because life happens. And again, this is what we kind of go back to, is that flexibility that other companies don't have. It's like, you have to stay in it for a week. Well, what if something happened? I had a death in the family. We work with a lot of international drivers, so we need flexibility. So sometimes people have to go across the world, in a matter of a day. So we're not going to make that, situation harder for you. And then we'll make it easy also for you when you come back. We'll be able to.
So it says bring you to Denver. You're not in Denver. Are you in Denver?
Not yet. Denver's busy, huh? I hear that. Denver is
pretty big. Actually, Denver is moving on up as far as demand is concerned. Is SC eligible? SC, I'm assuming South Carolina?
South Carolina. We are not in South Carolina yet.
You should be like in probably, that's a good tourist market, man. You should be like in Myrtle Beach or Charleston.
Yeah. Charleston, yeah. I hear a lot about Charleston.
Yeah, we do have, that's a top tourist town.
Yeah, my mother.
When are you coming to Oklahoma? I don't know. He'll tell you.
I don't know. We never had a request for us to come to Oklahoma.
See what I mean, man?
Yeah.
See, we're all over the nation.
Also busy.
We're all over the country, and including, by the way, there are people who watch us in New Zealand and the UK and Australia. So I'm sure I'll get an email. Is it in Australia? I'm like, no.
Sergio, I mean, the way that you hold these companies' feet to the fire, I have to say, I really appreciate it. And you don't pull any punches. It's great. You're a real advocate. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting here, but I've watched a lot of these episodes and a lot of these shorts. Like, you're really an advocate for drivers, and Well,
you know what it is, Enoch. I mean, I think until. I have a finance background, and I don't like doing anything half-ass, okay? And not because it's a finance background, but I'm thinking until we started doing this like 3.5 years ago, the Show Me the Money episodes, and, we built a community, and the community has grown over 125% from the first day of the Rideshare Guy YouTube channel growth to the last 3.5 years. It's like 125% more. So if you do the right things, people are going to show up. Yep. People trust me, and they go like, okay, this guy doesn't pull punches, like you're saying. Look, I have a relationship with these companies. I don't deny it. I talk to their CEOs and this and that. But, I do understand where they're coming from, right? Because finance, I can talk to them in their own language about earnings and this and that. But I also get my hands dirty, and I'm a driver. I understand what the driver is going through.
Absolutely.
So I have this top-down look that I go like, hey, this is bullshit what you guys are doing. And to their credit, most of the stuff gets fixed, actually. So I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I mean, kudos and hats off to you, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. New York City is a tough market. It's like California, and they have a lot of regulations there.
New York City, they've capped the number of rideshare drivers that can be in New York City. So it doesn't make sense just from that perspective. Also, the number of tags that you can get is also limited and very unsustainable. So those aren't. That's not a market that we would be interested in.
This is good because if you rent from Lyft or Uber, they deduct your pay. Yeah, they do. They do. They hit you up with a negative. If you're on Lyft Flex on Monday morning, you'll wake up to minus $450 for a Corolla.
And you get paid less when you rent from Express Drive. And
we discovered that. Yeah, you get paid 15 to 20% less. What a bullshit deal that is.
Which doesn't make sense, because if they're renting from you directly, you would think that these are the people you want to incentivize to make the most money, right? So I don't quite get the the thinking
Well,
behind that. But
nobody said they have, just because they're smart doesn't mean they have common sense. But look, they exploit drivers, man. I mean, look, I'm not just, they do it at any chance that they get, and I'm like, yeah, there's a new sheriff in town. You're not going to do that.
yeah.
How does payment work? Does it need major credit cards or a debit, and do they need a deposit?
You can use either debit or credit card as long as you're the card holder. And yes, there is a deposit minimum of $200 from on every rental.
But if you're renting, like you said already, from a competitor, you can get the $200 off. You're going to get $200 for the first month.
So you get $200 off the month. So you'll get $50 off per week, but we still charge a deposit, and that obviously gets refunded to you at the time of return minus any like tickets.
No, I fully understand that. Is this an RSG deal? Because nobody told me we had a deal, so I'm not sure if it's an RSG deal.
Well, we could definitely make an RSG deal.
Well, we need to talk afterwards, maybe tomorrow.
We'll go offline.
Hey guys, are you in the northern markets like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky?
Not in Ohio. We're in Illinois, so we're in Chicago, but we have not gone into these other markets yet. Are those busy markets?
Not sure. Kentucky, maybe. Ohio, Cleveland, probably. Actually,
Ohio, yeah. Ohio Cleveland, might have Cleveland, Columbus.
Yeah, weekly or monthly. We entered that. It's weekly. And last but not least, I'm sure there's more, but can I do courier work like Amazon, Viho, or Roadie with the whip car?
Yeah, you can. The only thing I say is that, if you're going to do just delivery, like you're not really getting the most out of that product, right? And what you're paying for. So I would try to say, okay, try to see if you can get approved for other, like for Uber and Lyft, at least Uber, so that you can also add Uber Eats in there, right?
Yeah, Uber Eats. Yeah. How about DoorDash? Can you do DoorDash with your car?
Yeah, DoorDash, Uber Eats, all that. I mean, if you're really have timed your thing correctly, then you'll do your ride share from like 4 a.m. till about 10 a.m. Then start doing, food delivery till about 3, and then you're driving people home from 3 till about 7. So, it's all about just making sure that you pick the right time, and you can use this car for all these different apps that, in the course of one day, and really make a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay. So there are so many questions. What I'll do is I'll go through them and then ship them your way.
Sure.
So the gentleman with the XL, email me, Sergio@rideshareguy.com. I'll play support for one email and send it out to Henok. The floor is yours. I'll give you a minute to close us up. Wonderful, really. I mean, I think there is a necessity, and I always thought, like, why should I be stuck only on Uber, doing renting from them, paying $500 for a Tesla Model 3 from Hertz, as opposed to why shouldn't I be able to do this? And I think you guys have unlocked something big here, so hopefully we'll be able to create some demand for you guys. Close us up.
I appreciate it. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everyone that joined this show, this live. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you, answering all of your questions, and it's been a pleasure talking with you, Sergio. I can't wait to try them in the Boston market. Okay, drivewhip.com/Boston. That's the easiest way.
Florida, they're definitely in Florida. I know Vinny's in Miami,
Orlando.
They're in Florida. Well, there you go. They're getting customers already. Come on.
Yeah, I know, man. Jeez, you got to get a commission for this, dude.
Talk to Harry on that.
I'll get you your own referral code. Don't worry, we'll figure it out.
There we go. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we've said everything, and I don't want to dilute the quality of this conversation. But I will say that we've been around, like I said, 10 years. At the end of the day, we care about giving our drivers transparency, flexibility, and a real path to higher earnings. Better cards have always been what have been the main cornerstone of our product and our program, and the freedom for you to drive on any platform. So that's what makes us different. We treat our drivers different. We treat our drivers with compassion and empathy. We care about you. We're here to help you. And anything we can do to, help you make more money, that's what we're all about. So
yeah. Well, we appreciate you showing up. Sorry for the troubles. You know what? Actually, I'm going to take responsibility for that, because looking at my phone emails, I sent you the YouTube link. I didn't send you the StreamYard link.
It's okay. I wasn't going to say
that was on me. But then
I wasn't going to say anything. It's all good. Leave it.
It's all
Make it
good. We
my
all
fault.
did it. So let's never look back. Always look forward, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And now we appreciate you coming on, and we'll be in touch. And yeah, do send me the referral link. Maybe I'll use
I
it.
will. I will. And let's talk offline. I'd love to
Yeah.
to get your opinion on a few things, Sergio.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be in touch for sure. Well, thank
Okay.
you. Stay healthy, and we'll see
Thank
you
you.
around. Okay.
Happy New
Thank
Year,
you.
everybody.
That's right. That's right.
Alrighty.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Take care.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.